Good morning. My name is Angie Urban. My pronouns are she, her. I am wearing a maroon blouse today with some lace, and I'm happy to be here to serve as the worship associate today and welcome you all here. We'll begin this morning, as we do every week, by lighting our chalice. A flaming chalice has been a symbol of Unitarian Universalism for decades and represents the spark that lives in each of us and which connects us all to life. Linda will light our chalice as I share these words by Craig Rowland. I breathe in the warmth of this light, its glow filling the spaces where fear and doubt reside. I breathe out the tension I carry. I release what no longer serves me. I breathe in the strength of our community, a sanctuary of diverse voices and shared purpose. I breathe out the urge to go it alone. I embrace the power of togetherness. I breathe in the courage to speak truth, even when it trembles on my lips. I breathe out the silence that holds me back. I make space for honesty and justice. I breathe in the hope of transformation, knowing we are here to build and to heal. I breathe out despair, trusting that change is born in small acts of love. As we light this chalice, may each breath remind us of the sacred rhythm of life, the pulse of creation, and the power we hold to shape the world around us. And now I welcome Sam Bashirs as our hymnal leader. This will be in the Till hymnal, number 1009, Meditation on Breathing.
And I'll be joined by Jerry Fry, who's going to help because he can do the low notes. A couple of days ago, we had quiche for dinner, and ever since then, I've been hearing in my head, when I breathe in, I'll breathe in quiche. Okay, you're welcome.
Gee, thanks for setting that tone.
Right, so this is supposed to be a nice meditative experience. And this song has 3 parts. There's a drone, which has the words at the top: breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. And you see those words are repeated, so going through once means you sing them twice, okay? So twice is once. And then there's, you good? Just think about quiche and it'll all be okay. Then melody comes in with the words below, and then there's a third part called the descant, which also comes in with the words below. So many of you know this, but if you don't, just follow along. Here's what we're going to do. We'll do the breathe in, breathe out twice, which means 4 times. Jerry will lead us in this. The third time, I'll come in with the melody and just select, roughly half of you, whoever wants to, join with me singing the melody. And we'll do that twice. The 5th time, I'll start the descant, and half of the melody singers can join in the descant, or however you like to join in. And we'll do the descant twice, so that'll be 6 times. Then the descant will drop out, and the melody will drop out. We'll end with just the drone. Okay?
It will be excellent.
You're fired. I'll breathe in peace when I breathe out. I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. I'll breathe in peace when I breathe out. I'll breathe out love. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out.
Thank you, Sam and Jerry, for getting us all on our toes this morning. Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Champaign-Urbana. I was supposed to say Urbana-Champaign, excuse me. We are a church of many different ages, bodies, genders, histories, theologies, and identities. We are united by our shared commitment to our mission to build community, seek inspiration, promote justice, and find peace. I'm Linda Owens. I am an outgoing member of the Worship Committee and an incoming member of the Board of Trustees. I know, right? Whether you are here in body or joining us from afar, I welcome you to this sacred space. We bid a special welcome to the guests who have joined us today and invite you to complete a visitor's card so we can stay connected. There are no RE classes over the summer. However, childcare is available in the nursery for children ages 0 to 5. We also have an adult show and tell, a special all-ages experience for young people aged 5 and older and their adult friends during worship. Today's show and tell is cardboard loom weaving with Kiri Fagan Olmschneider, and this will take place in the Children's Chapel. We are living in endemic times still, and many folks are more comfortable continuing to wear masks in public places and to maintaining physical distance. So please be aware and respectful of others' needs and boundaries and pay attention to the color-coded lanyards that people may be wearing. In this way, we practice our values of interdependence and centering love. If you're feeling a bit too crowded here in Sanctuary, anyone is welcome for any reason to join live stream in Fellowship Hall. Alyssa, is that true today? Okay. We had some glitches this morning. We weren't sure if that was going to happen. But if you need to step out and get a little breathing room, feel free to go to Fellowship Hall. The space is also great if you just need to stretch your legs or enjoy some wiggle room. And everyone, of course, is invited to Fellowship Hall immediately following the service for our time of kinship and conversation. However you are joining us this morning, whatever you bring with you, we trust this service will bring you what your heart needs. You will have noticed probably in the order of service that there is no time for all ages, so at this time we'd like to invite the children to go downstairs.
When we gather each week, we know we carry our lives with us, and it is an act of a spiritual generosity to share our joys and sorrows in community. We'll begin with the ritual of placing stones and petals in the bowls of water, both in the front of the sanctuary and in the back, while we sing our blessing song, May the Longtime Sun. You are also invited to submit a written joy or sorrow on the cards you'll find in the pew racks. Or you may submit them via email to joysandsorrows@uucuc.org. Bring your cards to the chalice table or pass them to an usher and we will read them later in the service. I invite us now to come forward as we begin to sing Blessing Song, Longtime Son by Mike Herron.
We live our mission at this congregation in many ways. Building community means welcoming new members and also connecting day to day and week to week through the opportunities both within and beyond the congregation. We invite you to subscribe to and read our weekly e-news to stay up to date on all of the activities offered through our REE programs and our social action councils. This morning, I'd like to highlight a couple things. Our Inquirer series continues today after service here in the sanctuary. These hour-long sessions are open to everyone who wants to learn more about our church. Today's session is about faith development for children, youth, and adults, and will be led by Faith Development Council Chair Natalie Danner. Bring your coffee and snacks and join us in the sanctuary shortly after the service ends. Also, join fellow congregants and members of the First Mennonite Church in a learning event and call for action on Tuesday evening at the First Mennonite Church on Springfield and Lincoln. At 5 p.m., we'll have a public witness, followed by a taco dinner, and then a panel of local community members sharing their experiences of Palestine. RSVP today for the dinner, but all are welcome for the public event. Read more details about these and other events in our e-news and check out the full calendar of events in Realm. Each Sunday, in recognition of our very real interdependence and reliance on each other, we pass the plate and share an offering with an organization doing the work of justice in the world. Our shared offering partner for July is Maya Impact School, which is an organization led by Indigenous women for Indigenous girls in Guatemala. Empowering generations of young Indigenous women through an educational model that embraces academics, culture, socio-emotional intelligence, personal development, and family engagement, Maya transforms not just its students, but entire communities. You can give through Realm and via the online portal on our website. Or if you are here in the sanctuary, the basket will be passed and checks can be made out to UUCUC, and in the memo, put shared offering. Half of all non-pledged donations will go towards sustaining the work of the church, and the other half will go directly to our shared offering partner. We invite you to give what is generous for you. This is also the time to submit a written joy or sorrow. And also today we have a little something different after the offertory. Consistent with the theme of meditation today, we're going to do a listening practice. So when the offering is complete and the ushers have returned to their seats and everything quiets down, Juan will play the offertory piece again. And this time we invite you to close your eyes and actively listen. Listen to the melody, to the rhythm, the dynamics, the overtones, and other aspects of the piece. If your thoughts stray from the music, gently bring them back. You don't need to have any particular feelings about the music. You don't have to like it or dislike it or anything. We just ask you to listen.
Our generosity comes in many forms, and we're grateful for all the ways we each give to this community. We will now make space for our spiritual generosity and share our joys and sorrows. If you have a card still to pass forward, please do so now. And if you haven't already, you can still write down your joys and sorrows on the cards you'll find in the pew racks, or you can still submit them via email to joysandsorrows@uucuc.org. I'll start with the joy from Sam Bashir's. Lynn and I just returned from a road trip to California. Joy for the beauty of this country and the many friends and friendly people we saw, and joy for being home again. From Caitlin Walworth, also a joy. A joy for a wonderful celebration yesterday with friends and family for my upcoming 30th birthday. Happy birthday. It was really great to see everyone and reminds me of the joy of building community. I have a sorrow from Alice Smith. For the threatened funding to NPR and PBS in a transparently bad faith attempt to silence the voice of truth and hide the current administration's fascist policies. Let's see. A joy from Lynn Wiley and Sam Bashir's. Our daughter Caroline is 30 years young today. We have a lot of birthdays. Happy birthday again. We celebrated her in Chicago yesterday and toasted her new status as senior resident in family medicine at UIC. Congrats, Caroline. Another joy from Katrina Knights. I received my diploma in the mail, so I guess it's official. Yay! I now have a master's degree in library and information science. Congrats, Katrina, very nice. For all that we have shared aloud today and all we carry silently in our hearts, we will take a minute of silence together. And now a reading. This reading is from Rumi, entitled The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.
feel a little bit presumptuous standing up here offering you a message called A Lesson in Meditation, as I have no real expertise in this area. And I know many other people in this church who meditate regularly and probably are better equipped to provide this talk. But I am an expert in trying repeatedly to build a meditation practice and having to start over again and again. I know there are many benefits of it, but what I'm not yet skilled enough to do is to turn all that knowledge into a practice. So the title of today's talk comes not from me saying, oh, I'm going to offer you all a lesson in meditation, but rather I want to share with you a lesson in meditation that I received. And this lesson didn't come from the usual places like a guru or a class or a book. It came from my experience getting an MRI. Now, for those of you who have never experienced an MRI, the machine is a very long, narrow tube. It uses a magnetic field and radio waves to generate images of soft tissue. There are several different things called sequences, and they have weird names like T1 weighted, flare, diffusion weighted, and their purpose is to highlight different parts of the brain. Some focus on white matter, some on gray matter, some on fluid. An individual sequence can take anywhere from 3 to 8 or 10 minutes, and the total procedure can take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to complete. The sequences are really loud, and there's a short break between them, maybe like 20 seconds or so. When a patient gets an MRI of the head, the patient goes in the tube head first, with only the bottom half of the legs sticking out from like the knees down. They're dressed in disposable paper scrubs on their back, cocooned in a basket of sorts, with the head and shoulders held in place by padding and pillows. MRIs are like photographs in that moving during them can cause a blurry image, so it's imperative that the patient remain still. The padding prevents the patient from moving their head, shoulders, or arms. Getting the picture here, right? It's claustrophobic. Once in place, the technician puts a faceplate on the face, and it looks a little bit like a hockey's goalie mask with like lines across it, but they project an image into the inside of the faceplate. And that image is like a screensaver with little blue and yellow fishies swimming around in a tranquil aquarium. But patients like me with poor eyesight don't see fishes, but just little blobs of color. Finally, the technician gives the patient a little squeezy bulb that you can squeeze if you get claustrophobic or panicky or need to get out of the machine. So on the day of my appointment, I donned my paper scrubs and followed the technician into the room with the MRI machine. I got on the bed, and the tech very efficiently and brusquely fitted the cradle and padding around me, handed me the panic bulb, slapped the faceplate down, and slid me into the machine. I had told him ahead of time that I was pretty uncomfortable in these machines and asked him if he would talk to me throughout. And they can talk to you through these earphones they put in that help block the noise of the machine. So he agreed he would talk to me. He left the room that the machine is in and went to the little control room. And then the next thing I heard was this little tinny voice telling me that the first sequence would take about 5 minutes. The sequence started, and if you've never experienced an MRI, it sounds a little bit like and it does that for the entire sequence, and it's loud. So, as you could guess, I started feeling really anxious. I started feeling my gut started kind of trembling a little bit, and just this percolating anxiety in my belly. And so I tried to distract myself by looking at the little fish blobs. But because of the way they were projected, I kind of had to look a little bit up. And the second I did that, it triggered this bout of vertigo. So I decided I couldn't do that. And I quickly looked back down. I left my eyes open, afraid that if I closed them, everything would start spinning. I was kind of on the verge of panic, but I didn't want to squeeze the bulb, because if I did that, I'd have to get out of the machine, cancel the appointment, reschedule a new appointment, and do it at a time when somebody could take me so that I could be sedated. And I thought, no, it's better just to gut it out and get this over with. So the only thing I could think to do during this MRI was to just start counting my breaths. I have some experience meditating and using breath counting techniques to sort of calm my anxiety, so I decided I would do that. I would count my exhalations, like inhale, exhale, 1. Breathe in, breathe out, 2, and so on. I counted to 10, and I tried to slow my breaths and relax my body. The brief break between sequences gave me time to kind of recenter myself and reset my counting. After a couple sequences, I thought, well, I'm going to use my breaths to try to time them. If I can time this little 5-minute sequence, then maybe I'll feel more in control about it. So when the tinny little voice said, okay, Linda, this one will be about 3 minutes, I counted 12 breaths, started over, counted 12 breaths a second time, and then did so a third time, and finished remarkably close to the end of the sequence. So I decided this would be my technique to get through the rest of them. I white-knuckled my way through the next few sequences, desperately counting my breaths so I wouldn't think about the fact that I was stuck in a long, narrow tube, unable to move my body, with my face like an inch from the wall. I also tried really hard not to think about the story I read in the newspaper once about a woman who was left in an MRI machine overnight. So after several of these sequences, the tinny voice came in and said, okay, Linda, the next one's 8 minutes. And I kind of started to panic. I thought, that's too long. One thing that helped me get through this so far was the short duration of these sequences. But I was in it. I was in the middle of it, in for a penny, in for a pound. And so when the sequence started, I started counting my breaths. But then an interesting thing happened somewhere in the middle of this long sequence. The thoughts about, how much longer will this take? All the machine noise, the anxiety in my stomach, the fears about being abandoned in the machine overnight, all kind of just dissipated, and I found myself in this place where all that existed was me, my breath. And the noise of the machine had sort of receded into the background, and it became something more like white noise, like a calming kind of a sound, rather than the really loud, jarring sound it had been. And I felt completely at peace. I was in this place that existed only for me. The outside world didn't exist. It was just me, my breath, and I felt comforted being wrapped up in this cocoon that I had originally found claustrophobic. I no longer wanted the procedure to end, but I wanted to stay in there and continue to feel this peace. But eventually the session ended, and the tech slid me out of the tube, and I kind of wobbled off the table in wonder and happily dumbstruck about the transformation that occurred. And when I was done, I thought, oh, wow, so this is what meditation can do for you if you stick with it long enough. In all of my attempts to cultivate a meditation practice, I've been drawn to the teachings of Pema Chodron, who's a Buddhist teacher in the Tibetan tradition and the former director of Gampo Abbey in Nova Scotia. She has a recording called Getting Unstuck, and one of the lessons is about learning to stay present. This practice is an antidote to the human propensity to try to escape negative feelings and both physical and psychological discomfort. And you might have noticed in that, in the offertory listening exercise we did, that it's kind of hard to stay present. I imagine several of us got the fidgets doing that, but we all feel unpleasant emotions throughout our days and lives. We feel boredom, anxiety, fear, hostility, shame, cravings. The list goes on and on. And when we feel these things, it's really difficult to stay present with them. It's easier to try to flee in some way, to numb out, to watch TV, to eat, drink, smoke, shop, scroll, whatever it is that takes us away from being present and that sense of unease that can sometimes accompany that. Pema likens these behaviors to scratching poison ivy or scabies. They provide some temporary relief, but in the end, they only make the discomfort worse. And while there are endless ways to distract ourselves, ultimately these behaviors are not really fulfilling, and they don't help relieve the feelings that we're trying to escape. The better strategy is to learn to stay with them without reacting, avoiding, or scratching. We just acknowledge them without spinning stories around what those feelings are about and then getting attached to those stories. So one way to think about meditation is that it's an opportunity to practice staying. We sit and we stay on our mat or our chair, and we count or follow our breaths, no matter what thoughts come to our mind or what sensations arise in the body. Every time we meditate, we come back to the breath over and over again, no matter how often we wander. With practice, we eventually get better at staying throughout our ordinary day-to-day experiences, like traffic jams or waiting in a long, slow grocery line. And no matter what thoughts arise, whether they're welcome or unwelcome, pleasant or terrifying, we learn to stay just a little bit longer with them. I chose to stay in the MRI, not because of some spiritual quest, but because the hassle of squeezing the bulb and having to do it all over again was much greater than just trying to stay there and do it. But in the end, in the process, I learned that what happens if you do stay for long enough. I've never sat and meditated for 45 minutes or an hour, but I had to stay in that machine that long. And since counting my breaths was the only thing I could do to kind of keep the panic and anxiety at bay, I really had this kind of enforced hour-long meditation practice. And in the end, I found that yes, you can really get to this place of calm if you just continue to stay present and return to the present over and over. So now today we're going to do a brief meditation. We are all in this group going to practice staying. The instructions are simple. You sit as comfortably as you can, close your eyes, try to relax your face, your neck, your shoulders, and we'll start counting our breaths. Inhale, exhale, count 1. Inhale, exhale, count 2. Count to 10 this way, and then start over. If your mind wanders, just say, thinking. Just acknowledge that you're having thoughts by saying, thinking, and then go back to your breath. And don't stress about it. Thoughts come and go. Just acknowledge them and return to the breath. When I ring the bell, we'll start. And for anybody who does not want to participate in this is not everybody's jam, and some people get really anxious doing it, so please feel free to go to Fellowship Hall or color or doodle. But if you stay in the sanctuary, we just ask that whatever you do it quietly. And then when we are done with the session, I'll ring the bell again. So this is the end of our lesson. If you could not count even to 2 without wandering, don't be discouraged. It's really difficult to do this, and this is why we practice. Now, as a reward for sitting quietly for so long, we get to sing Wake Now My Senses, hymn 298. So stand if you are able or willing and join us in singing this hymn.
I think everybody just wanted to keep going, trying to wake up. I have to admit, I was a little worried as being the worship associate because I was not sure if I'd be able to fully give myself over to the meditation, but I absolutely did, so thank you for that. As we extinguish this chalice flame, may the warmth of its light remain with us, guiding our steps and our hearts. Let us carry forward the strength of this community, the courage to speak truth, and the hope that transformation is possible. In each breath we take, may we remember that the work of love, justice, and healing is ours to continue, both here and beyond these walls. Go in peace with the light of this gathering to illuminate your way.